So let's go to the meaning of heroism. What is heroism? Heroism consists of putting others first, even at your own peril. Heroism comes from Greek heroes, which refer to a demigod. As someone who shows great courage and valor is referred to as a hero. Their actions are considered to be acts of hero. Heroism is defined as bravery and selflessness. Heroism is when someone is courageous, charitable, and understanding of others. True heroism involves some being courageous. Being courageous is not being afraid to stand up to help others. Heroism is glorification of the warrior hero and of the heroic code of conduct. This perseverance of Beowulf in the poem shows him to be a worthy representative of the code. The hero is valiant, strong, noble, and mighty. A legend is in his own time and loyal to his leader Heroism, and he is on the alert of wrongs to be righted. From the moment Beowulf hear about Grendel, the audience of that time would naturally infer that the hero would eventually take on the monster. In the poem, Beowulf proves his bravery and courage by facing each battle fearlessly, even though the foe is a brutal monster. So I have a quote here. He had scant regard for the dragon as a threat, no dread at all of it. Courage as strength, for he had kept on going often in the past, through furrows and ordeals of every sort. After he had purged Hrothgar home, triumphant he arrived and beaten Grendel. Meaning, no matter how dangerous the monster is, Beowulf can fight with them without fear. In the poem, Beowulf, courageous in the battle, always comes from his amazing strength and confidence from his previous success, and he was brave until he died. Even though sometimes people think Beowulf's bravery leads him to be overproud, his courage to fight with monsters with bare hands needs to admire. This is because courage is the leading virtue for a warrior, even in the modern society.
Heroic leadership. Chris Lowney created 4 pillars of heroic leadership. It includes self-awareness, ingenuity, love, and heroism. So Chris Lowney is a writer, a public speaker, and a leadership consultant. Heroic leadership is a magis-driven leadership inevitably leads to heroism. Magis is a Latin word, means more, or the greater, or the excellent, and the best. Heroism begins with each person, considering, internalizing, and shaping his or her mission. Magis-driven leaders either make them different or make the most of them. Heroism eliciting great desires. Just like leaders, they don't just sit and wait for a miracle. They strive hard and do something just to make what they want to happen. Heroism is to be understood best as the employment of constant personal motivation as a method of motivating others. It doesn't mean that to be a good leader, you must be a strong person or you must have a monstrous strength that can fight enemies in combat or that can save someone with your powers. To be a hero, a good leader is constantly surviving with conviction towards improvement and growth, Also, a good leader is a visionary, means that he or she is carefully planning out for the future. In this principle, it guides the leaders to produce more or to do something more, which the motto or the admission principle that we need to do more or to do something way beyond our capabilities. To be a hero, you do not need to have a physical attributes that most of fictional characters have. Um, Being a hero means, as what I said earlier, you do not need to have a power. You don't need to have a power. You don't need to be strong, or you don't need to have a monstrous strength. Being a hero means to be there with the people in need, or who needs our help, or everyone's help. And in return, they will also help you, and together you will be victorious. In conclusion, heroism consists of putting other first, even at your own peril. It is also defined as bravery and selflessness. The way to possess heroism is the ability to apply the majesty-driven relationship with others. Characteristics include courage, virtue, honor, and selflessness. All of us are leaders in the society. A lot of us aim high. We give everything just to achieve that goal, and by that, we can call ourselves a brave one. In short, heroism is a broad term for opportunity seeker. And so, we must always bring forth this aspect of heroism in our daily mission throughout our journey with humanity. Thank you.
Good day, Sir Bachnatano, and good day to everyone. We discuss one of the epic poem entitled Beowulf. I discuss some principle of characters of Beowulf, and later we will discuss key points of Beowulf. Let's start. The first character is Beowulf, the protagonist of the epic. Beowulf is a British hero who fights the monster Grendel, Grendel's mother, and a fire-breathing dragon. Beowulf's bows and encounters reveal him to be the strongest and ablest warrior around. Next is King Hrothgar, the king of Danes. Hrothgar enjoys military success and prosperity until Grendel terrorizes him realm. Next is Grendel, a demon descendant from Cain. Grendel preys on Hrothgar's warriors in the king's mid-hall period. And next is Grendel's mother, an unnamed swamp hag. Grendel's mother seemed to possess fewer human qualities than Grendel, although her terrorization of her youth is explained by her desire for vengeance, a human motivation. Next is the dragon, an ancient powerful serpent. The dragon guards a hoard of treasure in a hidden mound. And the other Danes, first is Shieldshifson, the legendary Danish king from whom Hrothgar is descended. Shieldshifson is the mythical founder who inaugurates a long line of Danish rulers and embodies the Danish tribe's highest values of heroism and leadership. Next is Beowulf, the second king listed in the genealogy of Danish rulers with which the poem begins. Half Dane, the father of Hrothgar, Herogar, Halga, and unnamed daughter who married a king of the Swedes. Wealhtheow, Hrothgar's wife, the gracious queen of the Danes. Anfert, a Danish warrior who is jealous of Beowulf. Next is Hrethric, Hrothgar's elder son. Hrothmund, the second son of Hrothgar. Hrothulf, Hrothgar's nephew, and Aishir, Hrothgar's trusted advisor.
Good day, everyone. My name is John Kenneth Santina, and I'm gonna tackle about the key points of Beowulf. But first, let me tell you what are the key points of Beowulf. The first is the time and place written, date of publication, publisher, and there are two types of settings, which is time and place. Major conflict, rising action, climax, falling action, and lastly the theme. First, I'm gonna tell you what is the time and place written. It said that it estimates of the date of composition range between 700 to 1000 AD. Originally written in England. Next is the date of publication. The only manuscript in which Beowulf is preserved is thought to have been written around 1000 AD. And the next one is publisher. It is also said that the original poem exists only in manuscript form. It has no specific author because it was only translated by many writers. Next is the setting, and we have two types of setting I'm gonna tackle. First is the time. The main action of the story is set around 500 AD. The narrative also recounts historical events that happened much earlier. And the next one is place. Denmark and Jutland. Originally a region in what is now southern Sweden. Next is the major conflict. The poem essentially consists of three parts. There are three central conflicts: Grendel's domination of Herewith Hall, the vengeance of Grendel's mother after Grendel is slain, and the rage of the dragon after a thief steals a treasure that it has been guarding. The poem's overarching conflict is between close-knit warrior societies and the various menaces that threaten their boundaries. The next one is rising action. It says that Grendel's attack on Herod, Beowulf's defeat of Grendel, and Grendel's mother vengeful killing of Aesir lead to the climactic encounter between Beowulf and Grendel's mother. And the next one is climax. Beowulf's encounter with Grendel's mother constitutes the moment at which good and evil are in greatest tension. And the falling action, Beowulf's glorious victory over Grendel's mother leads King Hrothgar to praise him as a worthy hero and to advise him about becoming king. It also helps Beowulf to transform from a brazen warrior into a reliable king. And lastly, the theme. The importance of establishing identity, tension between the heroic code and other value systems, the difference between a good warrior and a good king. That's all. Thank you.
Historical background of Beowulf. The first battle. The first battle begins with the story of Hrothgar, who construct and the king of Great Hall Herod. And during their time, they celebrating and singing with this warrior in the Great Hall of Herod. And because the noise coming from the hall, Grendel came out and attacked the hall and killed many Hrothgar warriors. And while they sleep, and because they can't fight against Grendel, the great hall of Herod was abandoned by the king and with these people. When Beowulf hears the Hrothgar trouble, he asked the king permission to leave his homeland to assist and fight against against Grendel. Then Beowulf and his men spend the night in Herod, but Beowulf refused to use any weapon to fight against Grendel because he wants to fight equal or fair. When Grendel entered the hall, Beowulf pretended to be as asleep. Then he lifts up to the crouched Grendel's hand. Then the Grendel and Beowulf battle was very violently. Beowulf tears Grendel's arms from his body at his shoulder and Grendel's ran to his home, and after that Grendel's died in his home. When Grendel dies, Beowulf displayed the wool of Grendel's shoulder and arm to show with a with his awesome grasp for all to see at Herod. Then it then next is second battle. When Grendel has been killed by Beowulf, her mother set out to get revenge and violently kill Aster, who was the Hrothgar's most loyal fighter. Then Beowulf and their men track Grendel. Then they found out that Grendel's mother is under a lake. Then Beowulf present his hunting. Hunting was a sword given to Beowulf by Anfort. Then Beowulf jumps into the lake and while harassed by a water monster and gets to the bottom. But Grendel's mother pulls him in and Beowulf engage in a fierce combat. She throws Beowulf to the ground and tries to kill him with a short sword, but Beowulf saved by his armor. Beowulf spot another sword hanging on the wall, and apparently the sword was made for a giant, and he used it to cut the Grendel's mother's head. Then when Beowulf was traveling into Grendel's mother, he discovered the body of Grendel, and he used to cut the sword and he used the sword to cut the heads of Grendel. But the blades was melt because of the blood of the monster, because monster has a hot blood that can melt the blade. Then Beowulf swim back up to the edge of the lake and carrying the sword and the Grendel's head, and he present them to the Hrothgar upon to return to his hall of Herod. The final battle. After the battle between Grendel's mother and Beowulf, Beowulf became the king of Jutland. 50 years after Beowulf's battle with the Grendel's mother, Beowulf finds Mystery Realm terrorized by a dragon. But when dragon found out that some of treasure has been stolen, he came out to destroy and fire and burn anything he could see. But Beowulf attacked the dragon with the help of his servant, but they do not succeed. Beowulf decided to follow the dragon to its lair, but the only his young Swedish relative Wiglaf dares to join him. Beowulf finally slays the dragon, and Beowulf he wants to fight alone with the dragon, but is mortally wounded in the struggle. And because of Beowulf's mortally wounded, he died and his body is cremated and burial mound by the sea is erected in his honor. And the end.